President Trump and Mohammed bin Salman signed a deal bringing over $600 billion of investments in the U.S.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique vision.
He's just coming out and saying it, yes.
Starting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done.
He hates Israel now. They leak the signal chats. That's the rumor. Yeah. And the thing is that, I mean, again, this goes in line with what I was saying, is that he runs shit like basically a, like a crime syndicate. The moment that any person does anything even slightly to double cross you, they are immediately off the list. They're wearing cement shoes. They're done. We will never trust you again. Fuck you forever. Yeah, they're totally cut off. Exactly. And so, no, and I bet that's probably what happened.
And the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were...
Oh my God.
In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
How could he be so base? I don't know. Is it a coincidence that Trump did this after the new Kanye song? Well, I'm not going to say that there's a connection, but I will say that those timelines do line up. This is a plus. That many. Okay? You guys see? That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking money, man. I cannot fucking believe this is real. This is insane. This has exceeded all of my expectations. This is like, you know what this is kind of like? This is like whenever like a really good video, like an Elden Ring level video game comes out, and it's like you thought it was going to be this, but you actually didn't even know how good it was going to be. This is insane.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. What a great place. What a great place,
wow.
But more importantly, what great people. I want to thank His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, for that incredible introduction. He's an incredible man. Known him a long time now. There's nobody like him. Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much, my friend.
Man.
And it's a tremendous honor to return to this beautiful kingdom.
Is it? Yeah, no, you're right. Is this the first purple tie? I don't think we've seen a purple tie in a long time.
And be welcomed back with such extraordinary generosity and warmth. I've never forgotten the exceptional hospitality showed to us by King Solomon, who's just, we talk about a great man. That is a great man.
Yeah.
That is a great man, a great family. And that visit took place exactly 8 years ago. The graciousness of the royal family and the Saudi people is really unsurpassed, no matter where you go.
Isn't that the guy that ordered the journalist assassination? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, that was not great.
Let me also thank the countless ministers, government officials, business leaders, and distinguished guests for that warm welcome.
Yeah.
Very warm, and I know so many of you. I'd like to call out all of your names.
A long time ago.
We have a lot of problems. We'd be here for a long time. We don't want that, so don't be upset. With this historic state visit, we celebrate more than 80 years of close partnership between the United States and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ever since President Franklin Roosevelt met with King Solomon's father, King Abdul Aziz, aboard the USS Quincy in 1945.
Wow.
The U.S.-Saudi relationship has been a bedrock of security and prosperity. Today we reaffirm this important bond, and we take the next steps to make our relationship closer, stronger, and more powerful than ever before. It is more powerful than ever before. And by the way, it will remain that way. We don't go in and out like other people. It will remain that way.
Oh, jeez. Let me guess, this is going to be another instance of Trump announcing that he's never going to leave office?
I've come this afternoon to talk about the bright future of the Middle East, but first let me begin by sharing the abundance of good news from a place called America. In less than 4 months, our new
this is the victory lap again? Another victory lap? That's great.
Administration has achieved more than most other administrations accomplish in 4 years or even 8 years. We've actually done, for the most part, more. The day I took office, we inherited, thank you. Thank you. The day I took office, we inherited a colossal invasion on our southern border, an invasion like you'd never want to see here. Nobody should ever want to see it.
Well, they don't see it there. As far as I know, Saudi Arabia doesn't take a whole lot of people. Like, if you're coming into Saudi Arabia illegally, I heard that's not a good thing. You don't want to do that. That's a bad, very bad thing. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, very, very, very not good.
Within weeks, we slashed illegal border crossings to an all-time low, down 99.999%. That's good, even for this great gentleman standing right in front of me. That's a good number. We had hundreds of thousands of people. They came in at the same time last year, and last month we had, in this massive border, 3 people that got in. That's quite a difference, and we have no choice but to get a lot of the people that came in because they were not the best people. They were, in many cases, very bad people. We're getting them out. We're getting them out very fast. We're bringing them back to where they came from. We have no choice. After years of military recruiting shortfalls, enlistments in the U.S. Armed Forces are now the highest in 30 years because there is such an incredible spirit in the United States of America. We have tremendous spirit again.
I love how people are surprised by that. Like, people are surprised. Yes, big surprise that whenever you have the guy leading the military who has a tattoo of the Crusades on his arm, that you're going to have more people that want to join the military. Because guess the kind of people that like joining the military? Yeah, I wonder.
About a year ago, it was a big story, front page on every paper all over the world, that nobody wanted to enlist in our military, meaning we were way under enlisted. And just last week it came out that we had the strongest enlistment. They say 30 years, but probably it's maybe ever.
Think about that. Higher than 9/11. And I remember 9/11, like y'all like I was 11, right, when that happened. But like that was like a Helldivers 2 moment. It was crazy how hard people went after 9/11 happened.
they don't go back that far. It's
Yeah.
the best, and that includes police officers, firemen, everything else. Is a great spirit in the United States right now. A brand new poll from Rasmussen just showed that
About him?
the number of Americans who believe the nation is on the right track, they have a right track, wrong track, is now the highest in over 20 years. And it hasn't been anything like this because for many years it was the wrong track. And I can tell you for the last 4 years it was definitely the wrong track, but it's the highest it's been in many, many years.
Yeah.
We renamed the Gulf of Mexico.
Please, I hope they start clapping after this.
Into the Gulf of America. That was very popular, other than perhaps with Mexico. And most importantly for the people in this room, the days of economic misery under the last administration are rapidly giving way to the greatest economy in the history of the world. We are rocking.
Wow.
The United States is the hottest country, with the exception of your country, I have to say, right? I'm not going to take that on. No, Mohammed, I'm not going to take that on. Wouldn't that be a terrible thing if I made that full statement? But I will not do it. You're hotter. At least as long as I'm up here, you're hotter. Mm-hmm. But groceries, gasoline, energy, and all other prices are down with no inflation. We have no inflation in a few short weeks.
I mean, you can laugh about this, but Trump said that he wanted them to raise the investment up to $1 trillion because Mohammed was just a really nice guy. I think it worked. Yeah.
We've created 464,000 brand new jobs. Think of that. It's almost 500,000 jobs created just in a matter of weeks. We just reached a historic trade agreement with the United Kingdom, and over the weekend we reached a breakthrough agreement with China. Both outstanding deals. China's agreed. We have to get it down. We have to get the little details down. And Scott, you're going to work on that very hard, but China's agreed to open up to the United States for trade and everything else. But they have to do it, so we'll see what happens. But we had a very, very good meeting with both of those countries. We are cutting 10 old regulations for every new regulation. We're getting rid of all of the red tape.
Wait, is he? Yes.
So many, frankly, countries, as they get older, they develop a lot of red tape, and we're getting rid of it. We're getting rid of it at record levels. And I'm pleased to report that the United States Congress is on the verge of passing the largest tax cut and regulation cut in American history. We think we're in good shape to get that. And if we get that, that will be like a rocket ship for our country. In the first quarter of the year, the investment in America was up an astounding 22%. More than $10 trillion of new investments have been announced or are coming just since the election on November 5th. So think of that. In a very short period of time, we have over $10 trillion, and it could be much higher than that. Not everybody comes to the White House to have a news conference that they're going to be opening up in America, but they're all coming in at numbers that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
If you take a look at other presidencies, they wouldn't do $1 trillion sometime in years. We did this in essentially 2 months because you have to say we got into office and they gave me about a month to clean up and fix up the Oval Office. And after that, we started working. And the money is pouring in, the jobs are pouring in, the companies are pouring into our country like we've never seen before. There's never been anything like it. And we let other people tariff us into losing a lot of money and a lot of jobs.
Oh, here we go.
Tariffing them, and it's at a level that nobody's seen. It's a level that is making us a very much different country and a very different Republican Party.
Do you think Sleepy Joe could yap this long if he was up there? Well, he'd probably be... well, I mean, he wouldn't be there. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know.
A tremendous victory in November.
Anyway.
We won all 7 swing states, the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. The Electoral College we won by 312 to 226. Remember they said,
That's
well, we could get to 270. You know, we got to 312. That's a big difference. And very importantly, we won counties throughout the United States.
how many electoral votes do you guys think he's going to get in 2028?
2,660
Yeah.
to 451. That's why
All
when
of
you
them?
look at a map, they're all red.
He's gonna get the
It's
clean
all-
sweep?
The whole country is red. Red stands for Republican.
You're gonna go Reagan on
From
him?
the moment
Is that
on, and from the moment we started, we've seen wealth that just poured and is pouring back into America. Apple is investing $500 billion. NVIDIA is investing.
Oh,
and I
that's
see my
why.
friend
That's
is
why
here.
he's there.
Jensen, that's very good, wherever you may be. Thank you very much, because he's putting in $500 billion. TSMC is investing.
Is that the Taiwan? I think it is.
Where is Jensen, by the way? Where is he? He's standing here. Where is he? I just saw that. Thank you very much, Jensen. I mean, Tim Cook isn't here, but you are. What a job you've done. He said he's got
There
90.
he is, right there. I heard that, and I don't know if I think this is kind of known, is that, but I heard from somebody that would know these things, is that one of the reasons why Trump put the brakes on some of the computer tariffs is that this guy had a dinner with him, and right after that dinner, that's whenever all of these, things were announced and all of this happened. Yeah, it happened.
89% of the
Yep.
chip market. I don't know. That's a big. That's not
true.
easy to
Yeah.
beat. But what a job you've done. Thank you.
Jensen's
We
going
are
to get
proud
access to
have
Saudi
you in
Arabia.
our country. You know
Trump
that.
gave him permission because
Thank
of that.
you for the investment. TSMC is
there it is.
investing $200 billion, and with this trip, we're adding over $1 trillion more in terms of investment into our country and buying our products.
Oh,
And,
damn.
nobody makes military equipment like us. We have the best military equipment, the best missiles, the best rockets, the best everything. Best submarines, by the way. Most lethal weapon in the world. In addition to purchases of $142 billion of American-made military equipment
What?
by our great Saudi
Submarines?
partners, the largest ever.
Okay.
This week
By the
there
way,
are multi-billion-dollar commercial deals with
Yeah.
Amazon, Oracle, AMD. They're all here.
Oh.
Uber, Qualcomm, Johnson & Johnson, and many, many more.
aren't they the ones that made the ghetto COVID vaccine?
So I want to congratulate everybody. So many great business executives, many of you, most of you I know.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
they're coming in, about a month ago. They weren't that happy when they saw me. And now they're saying, sir, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. It's amazing what a rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher. In fact, I told people 5 weeks ago, this is a great time to buy. I got
Let's
criticized.
see if it's any higher. All right.
For that. Now they don't criticize
right.
me anymore. People should have listened. But it's going to go a lot higher. You see, we've never had anything like this happen. It's an explosion of investment and jobs, and great companies are coming in. Never seen anything like it. There's no better place to make a
Nvidia's
future,
up by 6%. I bet.
make a fortune, do anything, frankly, than what we have in the United States of America under a certain president, Donald J. Trump. I have the right attitude. I have the same attitude that the people in the front row, second row, third row have. As you get back, perhaps they start to wane a little bit in terms of their view. But they understand, and we're doing what a lot of smart people would do. And we're not necessarily being politically correct. You saw what we did yesterday with health care.
Oh, here we go.
We've cut our health care by 50 to 90%. You're going to see drugs and pharmaceuticals come down at numbers that nobody has ever seen. And drugs, pharmaceuticals, we think will be dropping.
Make Saudi Arabia great again. You know what's ironic about that is I think this is actually going to do that. I do think so. I mean, like with like them shifting to entertainment and like Trump opening up more trade avenues, I actually think it's going to be huge for them.
And it will be a redistribution of costs with other nations, which really
It'll
took
be good for
advantage
us,
of a
too.
very nice group of people that ran our country.
It's very good
But
for the
not
world.
only is
I
this a
think so,
time
too. I'm
of
very positive
incredible
about this.
excitement in the United States, it's also an exhilarating period right here in the Arabian Peninsula. Beautiful place, by the way. Beautiful place. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly 8 years ago this month, I stood in this very room and looked forward to a future in which the nations
Will you
of
go to the gamer city in Saudi Arabia? Yes.
this region
Yes.
would drive the
Absolutely.
forces of terrorism and extremism, drive them right out of existence, and take your place among the proudest, most prosperous, most successful nations anywhere in the world as leaders of a modern and rising Middle East. So exciting. So exciting. Mohammed, you sleep at night? How do you sleep? Huh? Just think it.
Oh, God.
What a job. He tosses and turns like some of us. Tosses and turns all night. How do I make
man.
it even better all night? It's the ones that don't toss and turn. They're the ones that will never take you to the promised land, won't they? But you have done some job. True.
Like, you know, what's going on? I don't know.
Critics doubted that it was possible what you've done, but over the past 8 years, Saudi Arabia has proved the critics totally wrong. The transformation that has occurred, even by these incredible business leaders. I mean, you had the biggest leaders in
Do you
business.
remember those reductive virtue signaling losers a few years ago that were crying about content creators going to Saudi Arabia to go to compete in tournaments? Do you remember how pathetic and annoying that was? Just keep in mind who was on the right side of history. As always, it was me.
Anywhere in the world standing right before us. But the transformation that has occurred under the leadership of King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed has been truly extraordinary. Such a thing
Some
has,
say
I
they're
don't
still
think, ever
crying.
happened before. I've never seen anything at that scale happen before. And I guess, you know, maybe
But there's
you
more
could
people
say
laughing.
the United States is doing pretty well too, you know, but I don't think too many people have seen that happen before. Majestic skyscrapers, the towers that I see, the difference between now and 8 years ago. And 8 years ago was very impressive, but the towers
they're
that
cooking.
I see rising, some of the exhibits that I was shown by Mohammed, if what I've seen there is just an amazing, it's an amazing process, an amazing genius of so many people, architecture, but I have a feeling I know where many of those ideas came from. Happens to be sitting right in this room right before me, but the towers and all of the different, I've seen a lot of different towers. I didn't think there's any version of a tower that I haven't seen in one form or another. Well, I just passed 4 exhibits. I have never seen anything like any of them. So it's going to be very exciting.
Wow.
And they sit among the ancient wonders of a growing and exciting city. It's really amazing. Riyadh is becoming not just a seat of government, but a major business, cultural, and high-tech capital of the entire world. The World Cup is here. Johnny, just stand up, John. Johnny, thank you, Johnny.
Oh, man. They're having the World Cup in Saudi Arabia? Is that true?
Great job, Johnny, great job. But the World Cup and the World Expo will soon be coming here, just like the World Cup is coming to the United States.
2030?
It's going to be
Wow.
really exciting next year. The engines of Formula One racing now roar through the streets of Jeddah in a historic milestone. Other industries recently surpassed oil. Think of it, all of your other industries now have surpassed oil. I don't know if a lot of people will understand what that means. It's so big to make up a majority of the Saudi economy for the very first time ever. So think of that. Other
You know,
industries.
it's kind of surprising. There's only like a few people there with their phones recording this shit. You know, because usually in the U.S., whenever it shows the crowd, there's always a bunch of people recording. Yeah.
Now bigger even than oil, which is always going to be a big monster. It's a big one.
Jesus.
But that's a great tribute to you and economic development properly used. In other cities throughout the peninsula, places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Doha, Muscat,
Because
the
getting filmed anyway?
transformations
Yeah,
have been
imagine that.
unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that.
Wow. God damn.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western intervention.
Here it comes. All right. Yep. Here it is, boys. We'll turn it up.
Or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing.
You love to hear it.
To develop
Yep.
Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and
I have been waiting for like 15 years for somebody to say this. What an admission? Yes. Holy fuck. How many of you guys feel the exact same?
interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves.
Yeah, they're going to go to the other side of the world and say, this is how you have to live. Wow, I wonder why that didn't work out. Oh, that created a lot of people that didn't like you? Really? Huh? What a mystery. I guess that's because they're all terrorists. Oh, of course. That must be the reason. Sure. And they hate us. Uh-huh.
Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
That's crazy to say. Damn.
And it's something only you could do. You achieved a modern miracle, the Arabian way. That's a good way.
WSP chart? Yeah, right. This is a big one.
Today, the Gulf nations have shown this entire region a path towards safe and orderly societies with improving quality of life, flourishing economic growth, expanding personal freedoms, and increasing responsibilities on the world stage. After so many decades of conflict, finally it is within our grasp to reach the future that generations before us could only dream about, a land of peace, safety, harmony, opportunity, innovation, and achievement right here in the Middle East. So beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing that's happening.
Wow.
I guess, you know, the people that are here can't even really appreciate it because you see it happening, and it's when you come to a place that you haven't seen in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years that it's even more incredible. When I left office just over 4 years ago, that future seemed almost impossible, what you've done. Together we had obliterated the killers of ISIS. We wiped them out, terminated its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi. We had
another legendary speech. That one, do you remember that? At 2 in the morning? Bro, 2 in the fucking morning, this guy is out there talking shit, posting kill cams. Yeah, died like a dog.
heal the divide in the Gulf
I don't get enough credit, you know? I'm writing a book.
Cooperation Council. It's a very big deal. And united the nations of the region to stand against the enemies of all civilization. We'd imposed unprecedented sanctions on Iran and starved the regime of resources to fund terror. They were unable to fund anything because they had no money left. They had no money. But the new administration came in and let them have a lot of money, and you saw what happened. It was not money well spent. And with the historic Abraham Accords that we're so proud of, all the momentum was aimed at peace, and it aimed very successfully. It's been an amazing thing, the Abraham Accords, and it's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the last fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but we'll soon be joining the Abraham Accords. I think it'll be a tremendous tribute to your country, and it will be something that's really going to be very important for the future of the Middle East. I took a risk in doing them, and they've been an absolute bonanza for the countries that have joined.
Bonanza.
The Biden administration did nothing for 4 years. We would have had it filled out. But it will be a special day in the Middle East with the whole world watching when Saudi Arabia joins us, and you'll be greatly honoring me, and you'll be greatly honoring all of those people that have fought so hard for the Middle East, and I really think it's going to be something special, but you'll do it in your own time, and that's what I want, and that's what you want, and that's the way it's going to be. When I left office,
I don't think that Trump being able to potentially bring peace to the Middle East was on the bingo. Like, people didn't even have this one in the corners. Yeah, like this shit was not. Yeah, this was not in the corners.
Unbelievable potential was a small group of rogue actors and violent thugs seeking constantly to drag the Middle East backward and into havoc, mayhem, and indeed into war. Unfortunately, instead of confronting these destructive forces, the last U.S. administration chose to enrich them and empower them and give them billions and billions of dollars. The Biden administration, the worst administration in the history of our country, by the way, spurned our most trusted and longstanding Gulf partners, and I can say partners worldwide, one of our great, great partners, no matter who we look to, and we have great partners in the world.
Yeah.
But we have none stronger and nobody like the gentleman that's right before me. He's your greatest representative, greatest representative.
There he is.
And if I didn't like him, I'd get out of here so fast. You know that, don't you? He knows me well. I do.
My favorite thing about MBS is that when somebody interviewed him and asked him about, what do you think about the accusations of sports washing? He said, if sports washing makes our GDP go up by 5%, we're going to keep sports washing. And I was like, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, true. Like, duh.
Him a lot.
Yeah.
I like him too much.
I remember
That's
that
why
one?
we
Yeah, it
give
was a
so
good
much.
one.
You know? Too much. I like you too much.
When you put it like that, yeah, exactly.
They lifted sanctions on Iran in exchange for getting nothing and sent the regime tens of billions of dollars.
It's weird that he throws shade in speeches to world leaders. It makes sense when he's in the U.S., but this setting is just weird. No, I think this is... I guarantee you that I bet a lot of the guys there love this shit. I bet they absolutely fucking love it.
To fund terror and death all over the world, and they laughed at him. They laughed at our leader, and they're still laughing at our leader. They thought him a fool, and they made nothing but trouble ever since, including the funding of October 7th, one of the worst days ever in the history of the Middle East. Horrible day. Biden removed the Houthis from the list of foreign terrorist organizations, even while missiles and drones were being launched right here at your beautiful city of Riyadh and launched at ships if they happened to be sailing in the wrong
So the Houthis were attacking Saudi Arabia too? Wait, is this true? Yes? These guys are trying to blow up the video game city? What the fuck? What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
The Biden administration's extreme weakness and gross incompetence derailed progress toward peace, destabilized the region, and put at risk everything we had worked so hard to build together. And when you think of the great achievements that you've made, to do it in light of a pretty hostile administration, an administration that was not a believer, it makes your achievements even greater. Makes them even greater, you know that. But in a few short months since taking office, we have achieved the swift return of American strength at home and abroad, now working with the vast majority of people in this region who seek stability and calm. Our task is to unify against the few agents of chaos and terror that are left and that are holding hostage the dreams.
Isn't it crazy that, like, whenever we were talking about going to the Middle East, we were like, this would be a really cool idea. And then all of this shit has happened since then. That is insane, right? Bro, like, this is some fucking, like, oh, like, plot device shit. I love it more. Yeah, this is insane.
Millions and millions of great people. The biggest and most destructive of these forces is the regime in Iran.
Do you think that blowfish are terrorists too? What religion are they?
Which has caused unthinkable suffering in Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, Iraq,
wait,
Yemen,
hold
and beyond.
Wait, what?
Of these forces is the regime in Iran, which has caused unthinkable suffering in Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, Iraq, Yemen, and beyond. There could be no sharper contrast with the path you have pursued on the Arabian Peninsula than the disaster unfolding right across in the Gulf of Iran. Think of that. They wanted to name it that. I said, they're not going to let them do that. Do you mind if I stop that? I stopped it. We're not going to let that happen. While you have been constructing the world's tallest skyscrapers in Jeddah and Dubai, Tehran's 1979 landmarks are collapsing into rubble and dust. They had it going for a little while under a much different system, but those buildings are largely
That's when they had to take over.
Falling apart, falling down, while you're building some of the world's biggest and most incredible
So is he just like, is this the play where it's basically like, okay, all of the problems come, remember I say like all the problems come from two groups of people? All of the problems come from two countries, Iran and Israel. So let's just go ahead and get together with everybody else and just get rid of them and not even think about this, and everybody else is going to be fine. Like, is that really what's going to happen? Because I feel like that's what's happening here. Like, that's it. Israel isn't a problem, though. Well, it is for them.
Structure, projects, buildings, all sorts of things you're building that nobody's ever even seen before. Iran's decades of neglect and mismanagement.
The reason why I'm very much against Israel is that I think our politicians are compromised by Israel, and I think that the way that Israel exercises political power in the United States is antithetical to our system, and it co-opts the American government in a way that's not beneficial for America. That's the reason why I'm against Israel. I think that there's, I mean, sure, a lot of the Israeli people are probably great people. They're nice people. I think I have nothing against them. But the way that they operate and the way that they subvert our government, at least, and this is, again, this is my, like, I'm not an expert, right? I can't know what's happening behind closed doors. By the way, none of these other commentators do either. They don't know either. But this is the way it seems like to me. That's the reason why I'm against them. And I'm not even really necessarily against them. I'm just not actively for them. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the main reason why. It doesn't have anything to do with, like, who's right between Israel and Palestine, or, like, you know, whose religion is closer to Christianity. Like, that's all bullshit to me. Like, I think that they co-opt, they compromise, and they take advantage of our government and our political process to create a situation that's beneficial first and foremost for them.
The country
That's the way I
plagued by
feel
rolling
about it.
blackouts
That's the
lasting
reason.
for hours a day, all the time you hear about it. While your skill has turned dry deserts into fertile farmland, Iran's leaders have managed to turn green farmland into dry deserts as their corrupt water mafia, it's called it the water mafia, causes droughts and empty riverbeds. They get rich, but they don't let the people have any of it.
If you could, wouldn't you?
And then,
I don't blame Israel for doing it. I blame the politicians for letting it happen. Like, I never blame people. And I feel like, I mean, I guarantee you a lot of the guys, like Trump probably feels the same way. Like, I bet MBS even understands this. Like, everybody understands why they're doing it. They know why they're doing it. The problem is that people take the bait. That's the real issue.
Of course, there's the key difference at the root of it all. While the Arab states have focused on becoming pillars of regional stability and world commerce, Iran's leaders have focused on stealing their people's wealth to fund terror and bloodshed abroad. Most tragic of all, they have dragged down an entire region with them. Countless lives were lost in the Iranian effort to maintain a crumbling regime in Syria. Look at what happened with Syria. In Lebanon, their Hezbollah proxies have pillaged the hopes of a nation whose capital, Beirut, was once called the Paris of the Middle East. Can you imagine? All of this misery and so much more was entirely avoidable, absolutely avoidable. And Mohammed knew that. He knew that. Smart people knew that. If only the Iranian regime had focused on building their nation up instead of tearing the region down. Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path and a much better path toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better...
Thank fucking God, by the way, real quick. I wanted to read a comment. That's the problem with calling everything anti-Semitic. Criticize the politicians who are using money to influence, and they get called anti-Semitic. It's not a Jewish thing. It's a political payoff thing. Yeah, I know. And I think that, like, Israeli activist groups and, like, Israel in general has done a very good job at trying to conflate, like, basically, like, pro-Israel language or, like, being not advocating for Israel as being anti-Semitic. I think they've done this very intentionally. Yeah.
Shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran.
I mean, look at that, bro. Like, if people are different, yeah, for sure. But, like, you can get along with people. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, you should be able to get along with people for sure.
I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think.
Thank fucking God. What's funny is during Trump's first term, he was the most pro-Israel president in a long time. This is kind of jarring and unexpected. Well, because they roached out on him. That's why. Yeah, I mean, and again, this is a mafia tactic. Like, if somebody roaches out on you like that, that's it. They're done.
I don't like permanent enemies.
Yeah, shit changed.
Sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. In fact, some of the closest friends of the United States of America are nations we fought wars against in generations past.
Yep,
now
like Japan.
Our friends and our allies. I want to make a deal with Iran. If I can make a deal with Iran, I'll be very happy if we're going to make your region and the world a safer place. But if Iran's leadership rejects this olive branch and continues to attack their neighbors, then we will have no choice but to inflict massive, maximum pressure, drive Iranian oil export.
Happening. I think him going here and putting pressure on them, like regional pressure on them to do it, will help. I think that's clearly why he's doing this.
Like I did before. If you know that, they were a virtually bankrupt country because of what I did. They had no money for terror. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah. And take all action required to stop the regime from ever having a nuclear weapon. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
Great. He's getting them to clap for that.
But with that said, Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait. Things are happening at a very fast pace. They're happening right here. They're happening at a very fast pace. So they have to make their move right now, one way or the other. Make your move. As I said in my inaugural address, my greatest hope is to be a peacemaker and to be a unifier. I don't like war.
Like the Antichrist.
We have the greatest military, by the way, in the history of the world. You know, I rebuilt our military in my first 4 years and rebuilt it into the most powerful military there is. And you saw that when I knocked out ISIS in 3 weeks. People said it would take 4 years, 5 years. I did it. We did it in 3 weeks. Just days ago.
What a surprise. This is what I said before about like all of these like really big timetables for like how long it's going to take to do something. I always thought that was bullshit. I did. I thought that was all bullshit. Like, oh, it's going to take you this long because you want it to take that long because that means you get more money.
My administration successfully brokered a historic ceasefire to stop the escalating violence between...
Does everything need to be like the DMV? It does if you're being paid.
India and Pakistan.
It's the same reason why streamers drag out content. They drag it the fuck out because it's better for viewership. Whereas on YouTube, it's better to just get the content out, get it done. If it's in your best... Stalling, yes, exactly. Like yourself, I never do that.
And I use trade to a large extent to do it. I said,
I feel like I'm rushed and I stream 8 hours a day.
Let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles.
What do you
Let's
mean?
trade the things that you make so beautifully. And they both have very powerful leaders, very strong leaders, good leaders, smart leaders. And it all stopped. Hopefully it'll remain that way, but it all stopped. I was very proud of Marco Rubio and all of the people that worked so hard. Marco, stand up. What a great job you did on that. Thank you, J.D. Vance, Marco. The whole group worked with you, but it was a great job. And I think they're
Big Marco, yeah.
actually getting along. Maybe we can even get them together a little bit, Marco, where they go out and have a nice dinner together. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, jeez.
But we've come a long way, and it could be, you know, millions of people could have died from that conflict that started off small and was getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. I've also been working relentlessly to end the terrible bloodshed between Russia and Ukraine, and very importantly, talks are being held in Turkey later this week, probably on Thursday, and they could produce some pretty good results. Our people are going to be going there. Marco's going to be going there. Others are going to be going, and we'll see if we can get it done. 5,000 people, young people for the most part, soldiers from Ukraine, soldiers from
Putin's
Russia.
not going to show
they're not
up
from here, and they're not.
I think he will. Honestly, I think he will. I don't know about this, but like, it feels like maybe this is just like my perspective, but like I feel like this war made Russia look like shit. I remember when it started, I thought Russia was going to have this shit done and dusted in 48 hours. I think it made him look really bad, and I think he knows that. And it's a huge amount of money. They're having to conscript a bunch of people. Yeah. We propped it up. Yeah, but it still makes him look bad.
From the United States, but their souls.
It's a massive L. I think they did.
Mostly they're young, beautiful souls that left their parents waving goodbye, left their brothers and sisters. Goodbye, I'll see you soon. And they got blown to pieces. 5,000 on average a week are dying. And people are dying elsewhere in the region, but tremendous numbers like we haven't seen since World War II are dying. And I want to stop it. I want to stop it. It's a horrible war. Would have never happened if I were president. That's a war that would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened if I were president, because Iran had no money to pay Hamas or anybody else. They had no money. They were not looking to take care of them. They had to take care of themselves. They had no money. We stopped their oil effectively with the embargoes and sanctions.
He said the line. He did.
But let me take this opportunity to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the constructive role that you've played in facilitating the Ukraine talks. And it really is, you've been amazing. You've made everything available to us. Thank you very much. Thank you. And if we get that settled, we'll pay a special tribute to what you've done. You really did lay a great groundwork. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The West should not be dragging itself backward into another endless war in Europe, yet another endless war. We should stop the killing and work together to address the biggest long-term threats as one unbeatable team. Think of us as an unbeatable team. I mean, when you look at what you've done here, that's much more difficult than stopping stupidity. Think of it. It's stupidity. What you've done is much more difficult, and you did it better than anybody else has ever done it. As President of the United States, my preference will always be for peace and partnership whenever those outcomes can be achieved. Always. It's always going to be that way.
You think a lot of this is due to the younger generation kind of moving past ancient differences? Well, I think there's a lot of people that... I think one of the really big things that kind of has made a big difference for average people is the internet. And now that, like, you can get on the internet with a guy that's from, like, you know, Qatar, or, I mean, I think you need a VPN to be in Saudi, but I think pretty sure, like, it's like China, like, they all have on. Being able to, like, talk to these guys and, like, have, like, just a back and forth with them, I think that that does a lot more. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about with the internet at all, is because, like, everybody talks about, oh, people are so racist on the internet. I think not only is that not true, but it's the opposite. I think that the internet has broken down more cultural and xenophobic barriers than any other singular force in history. Because now you can have a direct personal conversation with a person that lives anywhere in the world, assuming that you speak the same language. And even that nowadays is becoming less relevant with translation tools. And so you have people that are like, yeah, well, I mean, if this place is so bad, then why do I know 3 guys that live there and they're good guys? And I think that the more that you have those relationships happen, and I think those relationships, by the way, are happening more than the negative experiences at a probably like 100-to-1 ratio, right? Because, like, how many of you guys had a predisposition against a country or for a country or about a country, and then you spoke to a person from that country on the internet in one way or another, and that changed your predisposition? And whether that's, let's say, like, and it's also not even just with countries, it's with types of people, right? So, you know, like, I think there's a big one is that, like, think about how many people were raised in, like, kind of like more like racist families that played Xbox Live with people that were black or Mexican or, you know, Asian or some other, you know, like Indian. And they're like, well, actually, like, no, these guys aren't like, they aren't like what, you know, like my grandpa says. They're like, that's bullshit, right? And so, like, that definitely, that breaks down more barriers than anything I think ever has. And so that's really the big difference. They're actually just like us. Yeah, exactly, right? And so I think a great example of this is like MBS, right? Is so, like, this guy has a Steam account, and a lot of people are like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, he's not perfect, right? There's been things that, you know, I think everybody would say, like, they disagree with maybe he's done. But in a general sense, you know that you have a common shared interest in culture, And I think the internet has allowed people to see that those differences are not as large as the media makes them out to be. And I think that having like that bridge allows you to communicate and interact with another person in good faith. And media is the worst. Yeah, exactly. Right. For me, it was the opposite effect. Yeah. There's going to be negative reactions too. But like, I think that for me, at least, right, like I've learned more about other cultures and other groups of people by talking to people that are part of those groups on the internet than I ever did in school. Because I mean, the books are bullshit. Books are fake. News is fake. Media is fake. Politicians are fake. But you talk to a guy that lives there and you just ask him like, so yeah. So like, what happens if like a woman goes out and she's not wearing that thing on her head? Well, they're just going to tell you. They're going to tell you like, oh, so you guys have free healthcare. How does that work? They're just going to say it. Right? Without bullshit. And that, by the way, is so much more valuable and so much more important than anything else. And I think that's what's driven so much of these, because you were asking, the original question was like, why are younger generations not adopting these ancient conflicts? That's the reason. It's because they know somebody that lives there. They know somebody that, you know, has been part of that culture. And that has changed more than anything. And that's why I think the internet is such a great thing.
A fool would think otherwise. In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion
this is very naive. Okay. Sure.
That it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them, because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before.
That's true.
I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do. I will never hesitate to wield American power if it's necessary to defend the United States or to help defend our allies.
Man.
And there will be no mercy for any foe who tries to do us or them harm. We will have no mercy. They understand that. That's why I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, you know, he's looking to fight. He's
so
looking
Israel's
to fight,
no longer
and
allied?
things get settled. It's an amazing thing when they really think you mean
the way it is.
But we do. We have the greatest military, the strongest military, stronger than any. Nobody's even close. We have the best weapons in the world, but we don't want to use them. If you threaten America or our partners, however, then you'll be faced with overwhelming strength and devastating force. We have things that you don't even know about, you don't hear about, and if you did, you say, wow. In recent weeks following repeated attacks on American ships and freedom, things that you don't even know about, you don't hear about, and if you did, you say, wow.
Wow.
In recent weeks following repeated attacks on American ships and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, the United States military launched more than 1,100 strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. As a result, the Houthis agreed to stop. They said, we don't want this anymore. It's the first time you've heard that from them, too. They're tough. They're fighters. But just days ago, we were asked
like, you got to have some balls to go up against, like, you going up against satellites, nuclear bombs, aircraft carriers, and all you have is a flying lawnmower and an AK-47? Man. Like that, you got some balls to do that shit, yeah. Balls or lack of brains, who knows?
Cease targeting commercial. They were not going to be targeting commercial ships in any way, shape, or form, or anything American.
Minus 2 jets, though? Yeah, we lost 2 jets. And my understanding is that the reason why we lost those jets is because the guys that were running them were fucking morons. Like, one jet just, like, fell off the aircraft carrier or something like that, right? Just fell off? Oh, shit. It's not funny. Shut up. It's my money. I guarantee I'm probably paying more tax money for these jets to go into the water. It's my right to laugh at this, okay?
And they were very
my
happy
money.
that
It's my money going into
we
water.
stopped. But we had 52 days of thunder and lightning like they've never seen before. This was a swift, ferocious, decisive, and extremely successful use of military force. Not that we wanted to do it, but they were shooting down ships. They were shooting at you.
Yeah.
They were shooting at Saudi Arabia.
They're fucking assholes. They're fucking asshole terrorists. What do you mean? Of course we had to do it. Yeah.
I don't want them shooting at Saudi Arabia if that's okay. So we hit them hard. We got what we came for, and then we got out. Since January 20th, the U.S. military has terminated 83 terrorist leaders operating across Iraq, Syria, and Somalia, including ISIS's #2 global leader. You read about that just recently. With the help of Pakistan, we apprehended the ISIS terrorists responsible for the attack on 13 American service
Pakistan
members at Abbey Gate, that horrible, horrible disaster during the
This is getting confusing.
Afghanistan withdrawal. You know, that's another thing that we don't even think about so much
gave
anymore.
them out?
13
Yeah.
died, but 42 were horribly wounded. But hundreds of people died overall, because I count the people on the other side. Hundreds of people just grossly incompetent. It's probably why Putin decided to go into Ukraine, something he never would have done if I were president. But we wouldn't have had the problems of October 7th if I were president. We wouldn't have had Ukraine, Russia if I were president. We wouldn't have had Abbey Gate, because there wouldn't have been any reason we were getting out, but we were getting out with dignity and with strength and power. But the way they got out was not good. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And we've been working tirelessly to bring back all hostages held by Hamas. We brought back a lot already, but we're bringing back more. This weekend, we successfully negotiated the release of the last American hostage.
I wonder if he's going to mention that if it was without Israel.
Edan Alexander just came out a few hours ago, and we continue to work to get that war ended as quickly as possible. It's a horrible thing that's taking place. All civilized people must condemn the October 7th atrocities against Israel, which would never have happened again if you had probably a different president, but definitely if you had me as president. The people of Gaza deserve a much better future, but that will... But that will or can not occur as long as their leaders choose to kidnap, torture, and target innocent men, women, and children for political ends. The way
you hear Edan won't meet with Bibi? Remind me about that after I finish this. I really want to see that.
People are treated in Gaza.
I have to see that.
Not a place in the world where people are treated so badly. It's horrible. After years of suffering, 2 of the nations most ravaged by terror are finally beginning to end their long nightmares under the new generation of leaders. In Lebanon, where a friend of mine has just become the ambassador, he's going to be great. I said, you know, that could be a very dangerous job. He said, I was born there. I'm Lebanese. I love that country. I said, but it's very dangerous. You know, this is a friend of mine from New York. I said, but it's very dangerous. Are you sure you want to do it? I never thought of him as being a warrior, but he is a warrior. He loves his country.
Here we go.
He said, if I'm injured or die, I'm dying for a country that I love. He grew up there. It's
Damn.
horrible what's happened in Lebanon, but you have a great ambassador.
I don't know what's happening over there, but that's great.
Which has been endlessly victimized
Yeah.
by Hezbollah and
The fuck?
their sponsor, Iran. A new president and prime minister have brought the first real chance in decades for a more productive partnership with the United States, and we're going to work with their new ambassador and everybody else, Marco, and we're going to see if we can really help them out and let them get over that very high grid that they're going to have to get over. My administration stands ready to help Lebanon create a future of economic development and peace with its neighbors. They have tremendous people in Lebanon, doctors, lawyers, great professional people. I hear it so many times. Likewise in Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully
Thanks to the 69 gifted subs, Ace. Thanks. So this could be it right here.
succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty, war, killing, many years. That's why my administration
Here it is.
has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade.
There it is.
And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this week. And very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince.
Oh, here it comes.
And also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
Man. Man. This is after, by the way, the prime minister of Syria, or the new guy in charge, said that he wanted to build a Trump Tower in Damascus. Remember what I was saying before about how they're talking to each other? They're acting like this to each other, like they already know that things are going to be fine. Like I think they've made some pretty interesting backroom deals that we're going to be finding out about in the next 2 years. Yeah, they're giving each other $400 million jets, like making $1 trillion investments in each other, like building towers. Like there's a lot. Yeah, the ISIS commander. Yeah. Ex-ISIS commander? Yeah. Not anymore. Or backfires for everyone? I don't think it will.
Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince. The sanctions were brutal and crippling and served as an important function, nevertheless, at the time. But now it's their time to shine. It's their time to shine. We're taking them all off, and they're going to have, I think they're going to have, based on the people and the spirit and everything else that I'm hearing about. So I say good luck, Syria. Show us something very special like they've done, frankly, in Saudi Arabia. Okay? They're going to show us something special. Very good people. Everywhere we can, my administration is pursuing peaceful engagement, offering a strong and steady hand of friendship to all that will take it in good faith. Together, we have made unprecedented strides and tremendous progress, and we're still just at the dawn of the bright new day that awaits for the people of the Middle East, the great, great people of the Middle East. If the responsible nations of this region seize this moment, put aside your differences and focus on the interests that unite you, then all of humanity will soon be amazed at what they will see right here in this geographic center of the world. It really is. It's like a center of the world. And the
like on the
spiritual
globe,
heart
usually
of
is in the middle. That's
greatest
true.
faiths.
Yeah.
For the first time in 1,000 years, the world will look at this region not as a place of turmoil and strife and war and death,
It's the middle.
but
Yeah,
as a land of opportunity and hope, just like you've done right
that's
here,
a
a
point.
cultural and commercial
Never thought about that
crossroads
name.
of the planet. Security and stability will lift millions into lives of safety and success, and the nations of this region will be free to realize your highest destinies, honor your proud histories, harness amazing new opportunities, and bring incredible glory to Almighty God. People will come from all over the globe to be inspired by the cities you build, the businesses you create, the technologies you invent, and the beauty, talent, and potential you unleash right in the hearts of your citizens. Each of you will be able to take tremendous pride in the legacy you will leave to your children, because you will have given them the ultimate blessings of prosperity and peace. So important. In the United States, we've launched the golden age of America. It's the golden age. We see it. We see it with all that money, trillions and trillions of dollars pouring in, hundreds of thousands of jobs coming in with it.
It's a world buff.
And with the help of the people of the Middle East, the people in this room, partners throughout the region, the golden age of the Middle East can proceed right alongside of us. We will work together. We will be together. We will succeed together. We will win together. And we will always be friends.
Man.
Thank you. So, Mohammed, I want to thank you again very much for having me. And as a representative of what I think is the greatest nation in the world, we are with you all the way, and you have a tremendous future. Thank you very much. And please pay my respects to your father. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No. 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 Oh my God. Absolute fucking cinema.